Delgado, number 6 in the world, and some of you girls are nasty. I'm reading in the comments like, oh, she shouldn't be taking some time off because she said that she's taking some time off. And you have to understand that competing at the highest level, she's in the top 10 in the world. Maybe you are just fighting for your pro card, maybe you are just fighting to get to the Olympia. She's at the Olympia fighting for the top spots in the Olympia. So the amount of dedications, the amount of everything that you have to do is totally different than what you have to do in your day-to-day basis. So for her, her time off might be equivalent to your 80% on when you are competing. So yeah, I think you get it twisted there, that you think that she's taking a completely time off, not training, or just going off the plan completely. And even if she's doing, guys, she's not gonna have any problem maybe next year qualifying for the Olympia. So if she needs to take a couple of months off to share time with her family, it's fine. I don't think she's like retiring from bodybuilding, but I think like she's a little bit, let's say, disappointed with the feedback, because her feedback was like she had to bring up her quads, and then she has to change her front pose, which is a little bit contradictory because a few weeks back before the Olympia, they told her that she has to change her front pose, and then she was fine in terms of muscularity. But this is one more time what I always said, that you have to understand the judge's perspective, because when they're seeing you with other girls and when you are seeing you by yourself, the feedback that they're going to give you is completely different than what they give you when they see you with other lineup and when they compare you with other girls. So Aimee have been competing during the world season against, let's say, tinier girls than her. So you have Ashley, Raywana, Ivana, Romina. Romina is not as tiny, but yeah, it's still like, let's say, smaller than Laura Lee. And then in the Olympia, she was always next to Laura Lee. And of course, when I saw her, even before the Olympia, I was saying like, wow, this girl doesn't need more quads. This girl doesn't need to get bigger. This girl even looks bigger than most of these bikini girls competing next to her. But of course, then you have the top Olympia levels, which are going to the Olympia: Laura Lee, Maureen, Jennifer. These girls, they don't compete during the year because they already have the qualification. And when you put her next to them, then she doesn't look that big. For example, here, she doesn't look that big compared to Laura Lee. And I think like she also have to know, which I assume she knows because she's a pro athlete, that she has a very good coach, how to interpret the feedback from the judges. Because I think like what they're trying to say about the increased amount of quads that she has is that you don't see this level of fullness here. For example, when you see Laura Lee, when you see Ashley, when you see Isa, in her quads, especially in the lower portion of the legs. I don't think it's a matter of her quads needing more volume. I think it's a matter of her getting fuller or just changing a tiny bit the way that she's posing. It might be even a structural thing. I will feel like she also, I will say that she needs to increase not her quads, maybe the shape of the hamstrings. Maybe the hamstrings a little bit more to create a little bit more shape here. Do you see? Do you see the shapes that these girls create here? They don't look as small here in the lower portion of the legs as Aimee. So she has a very good dominant glute profile and quads here when you see this mega balloon. But as you go down, it looks very small, so it doesn't look proportional. I don't think it's a matter of increasing your quads, because when I see her other leg here, do you see the size of this leg compared to Ashley, compared to Laura Lee? She's the biggest one there. But if you see her side profile, she's the smallest one, especially comparing to Laura Lee. So I don't think it's a matter of increasing her quads. I think the judges are saying that because it's what they're seeing, but it's because the way that she's posing. So I think that she just have to maybe just change her poses a little bit to see what fits better for her and see how she compares next to other people maybe. And if changing the poses, she still looks a little bit smaller or not as full here, I don't think it's a matter of increasing the quads. I think it's a matter of increasing more, let's say, the hamstrings to create more balance. That's my personal opinion. But yeah, it's just very weird. And this is one of the things that competitors struggle with the most, especially at the highest level, judges' feedback. Because in one show, the judges will tell you, oh, you don't need more size. And then they tell you in another show, oh, you actually need more size. But you have to understand that it all comes down to what they are comparing you with, or who they are comparing you with, and if they're evaluating yourself by yourself. So because if I see Aimee by herself, I will say like, wow, you know, you're a little bit too heavy at the bottom, okay? You don't need more quads. You don't need anything. I will say that, hey, don't change anything. But if I compare her, like say, like next to Laura Lee, next to the other girls in the top 10, I will say like, oh, maybe you need this, you need that, you need that. You know, there are a lot of things that she needs once you put her to the other and next to the other girls. So sometimes you have to take that into consideration when you're getting the feedback from the judge.